Now today, man, I got something really nice for you guys can see this. Before we begin, make sure you guys do hit the thumbs up. Make sure you guys do hit that bell notification so that way you guys are updated with all the latest and greatest stuff. Now, what do we have today? This is the Weebill S from Zhiyun, and I am very excited about this. So as always, when I do a lot of filming, when I'm traveling, I do a lot of stuff with my camera. And typically what I do is I will use my cell phone and I'll hook this up to a gimbal, and that will be my go-to. So we're going to come here to the other camera and we're going to try to set this guy up. So the first thing you want to do is right here you have this button right there. So as you can see, this thing is not moving. So you want to click this down so that way you have access and full range of motion to move this back and forth. Now when you get it about right here, you want to push it back up, and then so that way it's locked in right in that position. So you want to make sure it's staying right there. Now to get this one down here, there is another button right at the top right here. So again, you want to move that down and it's going to drop this. Once it drops, then you want to snap it back over, and then it's going to lock in place right there. So now we are fully locked in and ready to go. Now keep in mind, we are going to be using the Canon here. So one of the things that I do recommend when you are setting something like this up, if you want a different lens, then make sure you do take it off and put the lens that you do want to use. Also, if there's any types of accessories that you need to take off, like the lenses, if you need to add a mic, anything that you want to add that's going to go onto the actual camera itself, you want to be sure you have everything removed prior to setting it up, because when you're balancing it, you want to be sure it has everything it needs prior to setting up the balance. Now the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need the quick release, and we're going to also need the other part here that comes with this. And then remember those screws that I was telling you within the box? I was looking everywhere to see how we were going to be attaching the bottom part of the camera to the actual stand here. You're going to need these nuts here, so make sure you don't lose those, and that's exactly what we're going to use, and it was inside that box. Now this is very, very simple. You can do one of two things. Now once you do have your plate, and then once you do have your screw, you want to go to the back side of the plate, and you'll notice on the front side you have these pads here, and on the back side you don't, plus you have the numbers, the ruler. So at the very, very top, you see that hole? That's where you want to put that screw in. You put it in there and you just start screwing away. And if you do have like a pen or a pencil or something like that, it'll make it much easier. Once you do screw it in, then you'll be able to move it back and forth just like that. Now, depending on your setup, when you do put it in, you want to put it as far back as possible. So it just depends on how big that lens is. Since it has that holder right there, I'm going to put the holder right there and then move that screw as up as possible to connect it to the camera itself. So I'm going to just barely turn it in so that way it is attaching itself to it. There you go. And then I'm going to now adjust it so it's holding onto the lens itself. And then right here, I just with my fingernail, I just went ahead and tightened it. And of course, use a coin, use a quarter, use something so that way you have it there connected, and then you should be set. Now real quick, depending on some of these cameras, it might need a riser, something like this. I haven't connected mine yet, so I don't know just yet. But if you do need a riser, you would put that screw, that's why you get 3 of them. That screw, you'd put it just right in there, right at the top. Screw it on. This piece will go on here, and then from there, this piece there, you would screw that other one right into that slot. Now the next thing, now that we do have this camera here attached, and of course you could pull that out depending on what type of camera you got. Once you do have that, I would highly recommend also taking this off. But if you do leave it on, all you got to do is just come up here to the side and then just slide it in just like this. Now, you will have to push this button in so it goes all the way back. Release it, and then you should be able to lock it right there where it won't be moving back and forth. Now, it still will move left to right, which means you got to pull this one over to lock it in place right there. Now, here is the great thing about this camera with the accessories that I'm just barely realizing this. Now, because it does have some of these ports around the camera that you can charge it, like you have a battery right there that you could plug in. So if you have a mic that needs battery, you could do that. Or if you don't want the camera to lose power, you could use these slots for more power. So I know we said there's one right here, and then there's another one down here. There's multiple places that you can put this in, so that's very neat. Also, if you use your cell phone, you could get an adapter here to plug it in, and then your cell phone would just stick out right there, and you could just hold it just like this. Now, if you do have a motor, some of these cameras will have a motor for if your camera does not do the zoom. Now, of course, the company does sell accessories that you can do that. And what they do is they put a strap around it, and it just powers it on. All you got to do is the adapter, it's literally right on the side. You plug in from here, and then there's a power source right there that would control the motor. What this does, it helps the camera that you could just zoom in and out from your button. So that's just extra adapters that we're not going to be reviewing today, just the actual gimbal itself and does it work. Now let's go ahead and get into balancing. So balancing could be a little bit tricky here. So what you want to do is, right now everything's locked. The first thing that I like to do is I like to unlock this top one right here, and you're going to notice it fell down a little bit. So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera here to the side, and let's go ahead and come over here to the bottom camera. So when I did unlock it, it did fell. So from here, what I want to do is I want to make sure it's pushed as far back as possible, and then it already is, and I want to lock it. So it does hang down a little bit, which is fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the nut down here at the bottom, and I'm going to push the camera just a little further back so it's just holding on to the front lens right here in the front. So I'm putting it up so it just barely can hold it. So I did have it like this where it was all the way to the back, but I'm going to push it so that way it goes all the way to the edge. All right, so I went ahead and tighten it up. Now I'm just going to put it back. And the biggest thing here is you want to be sure that you are balanced as well as possible. So the flatter the better, and it looks like that number right there is going to be really good. So I'm going to go ahead and lock myself in right there. So now I have a very good balance right about there. Now the next thing is I'm going to bring it over here, and you'll see this screw right here. So if I point the lens directly upwards, and I'll show you this here, if I go directly up and let it go, it's going to come down and balance. So what you want to do is you want to release this one right there, and you want to tighten it. So point it straight up, and when you let go, see how it comes right down? So you want to loosen this up right here. Point it straight up, and this one right here, you want to loosen that up. Now once you do, you want to push it in to balance it, so that way it stays facing up. So very simple. Just push it down. You'll see the measuring right there. So just keep pushing it in until it's balanced, and then it's there. So once you do, just go ahead and tighten this up right here, and then you are set. Now you can control it either upwards or downwards. Pretty cool. Now once this is done, what you want to do is you want to come back here and lock. You want to lock this up right there exactly where it's at, and then that way it's not going to move anywhere. And now we're going to tilt the other axis. So we're going to go ahead and open this up here, and there you go. So the first thing we want to do is again balance it so it doesn't fall over. So the first one is this lever right here is the one that we're going to have to close it up and then move it left to right to balance it. So if we go here, it looks like it's a little too much. So you just want to move it back and forth until it stays balanced. Once you have a good balance spot, go ahead and lock it in place. That way you can control it exactly how you want it. Now the final balance that we want to do, now that we got this there ready, and we have to balance now this final one right here. So the one that we're going to want to do is you want to hold it, and then you want to turn it at an angle. Now if it does fall, that means you need to loosen this one up and then move this back and forth. So sometimes it can just be very small. And it looks like we are actually good to go right here. So it looks like we are actually balanced out very well. And just look at that. Like, the biggest thing that you want to do is, once you do have everything balanced, is you want to test it out. So if you want to hold the camera, let's just go ahead and release this guy here at the top. If you want to post it up and you want to stay right there exactly where it's at, that's where you want it. If you want it down, wherever you want to set this up, it needs to stick exactly where you want it. If it starts wobbling all over the place, so if it just starts moving or swinging, then you need to fix one balance. So the balance on this thing is actually really good so far. And what that does, it's going to help the motor not do too much stress. Now, I have been, I think, setting it up and recording and stopping and pausing. It's been roughly about 28 minutes, 30, let's just call it 30 minutes of the batteries charging. So we're going to open up the bottom part here, and we're going to go ahead and plug the batteries in. Now, one more thing, I just put the batteries in. If you were to move this off and you want to hold it just up here, this was my favorite feature part, because I know I will get tired of holding it down at the bottom like this forever. But the nicest thing that I've noticed is you could just hold it up there just like this. You could hold it like that. And it really just depends on how you want to hold it and control it. So for me, I think that was actually pretty cool. You could do some cool zooms, ins and outs. So it's very, very neat. For now, what I'm going to do is I am going to keep it here at the bottom. That way we could use the stand and we can be hands free. So let's go ahead and put this back down here. And let me just tell you, just playing with the camera itself and how it's balanced on here, everything feels very, very comfortable. It feels very, very nice. I'm actually like highly surprised how the quality is on this thing. So let's come back over here, and we're going to move the camera down just a little bit and back just a tad. And we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and just turn this thing on here. So the power button's over here on the side, so I'm going to hold it and you're going to see it. It takes about 2 seconds for it to turn on, and there it is. Now once it does turn on, notice it just balanced itself. It just moved real quick and it's balanced. Now if I move this thing back and forth, this is where I'm going to be able to control it. So you see that if I go up, it goes up. And then if I come back down, I'm going to be able to come right back down. So that's very, very neat. Now I do have it in I'll bring it over here in PF mode, and the modes to switch is over here. So this will just allow it to move up or down. So as you see there, it is moving up or down. It's super smooth. Let me tell you how smooth this thing is. It is very, very nice here. Like, I don't know if you can tell how easy I'm moving it, but very, very nice here. Now if I do move it to L, and now I'm going to be moving it lateral, I'll be able to control left and right how this thing works. This is pretty nice. I'm so excited about this thing, and I'll still be able to control left and right. So if you wanted this to be as straight as possible, just don't use the lateral. You could just lock it and then just use the top part. Now let's just say you are filming here and then you want to straighten it back up. At the very, very front, there is a trigger. I don't know if you can see that. There is a trigger right there. If I click it once, it doesn't do anything. If I hold it, it's not going to do anything. If I do it twice, it's going to readjust itself. So the cool thing about this is, look at this thing. I'll go ahead and start playing with it now. If I move this thing around, notice how it stays on one point. If I go PF mode and I move it around like this, it'll follow me. That's actually pretty neat. It'll just follow me. And then if I hold this button here, the camera is going to move in the direction. So if I come down, it's going to come down. If I go up, it's going to go right back up. If I go left, right, everything is going to move exactly how it is. Let me show you guys a better picture here. So if I'm holding it, if I go left, it goes left. If I go right, it goes right. If I'm straight, and if I let go, and if I go left, the thing is just a little bit smoother. So this is just the forward motion. That's all it really is. So if you notice here, if I come down, it'll stay there. If I come back up, it'll stay there. If I hold this and I go down, it's going to point down. It's going to point the direction of the whole stick. So if look at it like this. If the stick is like this, and you have your camera pointing this way, let me go ahead and straighten this out. If I have the camera pointing in one direction, so let's go ahead and face this. If I'm not using it, Right now it's in PF mode, which means it's gonna follow, it's gonna stay leveled. So it's leveled, and if I come down, it's gonna stay leveled facing you. All right, you see that? Now if I hold it, now it's gonna go forward based on where this platform's at. So if I go down, the whole thing goes down. You get that? Now if I move it down to the lateral, and if I go down, the camera's still gonna stay leveled up to you. If I hold this to the forward, then the whole thing comes down with it. So just remember the lateral, that's gonna be to move the left to right, and you also have the options of up and down. And then if you want to lock in the lateral, you just move this, up right here to PF, and as you can see, it's gonna now straighten out. And then here it is, up and down, pretty easy. So this is very, very neat. I'm super excited this thing, and I know this is going to be such a long video, but I wanted to show you guys the unboxing, the setup, the whole thing of how this thing works. This is nice. This is very nice. I'm very excited to play with it some more and set it up and put all the different lenses. And then the cool thing is once I'm done, I just hold that power button, and then it's just gonna stop. So now I could control it there. And the cool thing too is if you since it has that quick release, you could hold this button here and check this out. Just take this with you. You could just take this off, plug this into something else. That's what this quick release is for. This is this is so nice. It's great. And then when you want it back on, you just plug it in right there, and then you are set. Everything's already balanced exactly how I want it. So that's pretty cool how you can just adjust it and just take it off, put it in something else, take it off, put in something else. So if you got like the different types of gimbals, that's pretty good. So I'm very excited to see how this is going to work. I'm going to be using this a lot, and I mean a lot. I got all the different lenses, and it's going to be very, very cool. I can't wait to try it all out. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. As always, I try to bring you guys some good stuff. This one in the description below, you will see it. This one's just bare bones. They have accessories that you can get. If your lens is not automatic, then you could put that little adapter. You could sync this up with the actual device itself, with the Weebill. Yeah, I'm very happy, very, very excited. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I always tell you guys take care of each other, and let me know what you guys think. Put in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, guys.